Hello, my dear friends. I'm Gustavo Tolosa, your host for this wonderful online book club that I started a year and a half ago. I'm really proud of this. I'm proud of the book club. I'm proud of all of you who have stayed with me during all this time. I started it with the idea of reading a book together, and now we have all read and discussed and learned from so many books that we've read together. And all of those past book clubs, they are in my YouTube channel under my name, Gustavo Tolosa, and you can go on the playlists and look for book clubs. There is such a wealth of information there. I have had guests, some of the book authors, cooking sessions. I have played the piano for you. Talking about piano, maybe some of you who are watching this on YouTube don't know that I am a professional concert pianist and professor of piano. So you can also find videos in my YouTube. And if you have not visited my website as a professional musician, my website is gustavotolosa.com. Go there, please, and explore. There are videos, there are recordings and photos, etc. So, of course, also visit my health website, which is plantemus.com. Plantemus is spelled like plant, P-L-A-N-T, E-M-U-S, plantemus.com. That means plants, and music put together. So thank you for staying with me. And I hope that all of you had a wonderful, wonderful holiday, Thanksgiving. This is officially the last session, but we're ending with a bang. We're ending with a big bang, and that is because there is an extra session, and we have as a guest the other author of the book, Dr. Alan Goldhamer, who this Thursday, on December 2nd, at the same time, wherever you are, that is 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, or, wherever in the world you are, this Thursday, live, using the same link that you're using now, you will be able to hear Dr. Goldhamer talking about chapter 15, which is, I believe the title is Fasting Can Save Your Life. This is a topic that is so fascinating. I've had the privilege of staying at True North many times, of interviewing Dr. Goldhamer many times, sitting by his side, having lunch, and he's a brilliant man, a brilliant mind, and he will tell you more about fasting that you ever wanted to know. And of course, True North is one of the world leaders in fasting, and they publish research that is published in medical journals. So this Thursday, in 2 days from today, we will have this last session. And after that, we're taking a break for December, although you will hear from me, I promise. And then in January, we are starting a book club with Dr. McDougall's amazing book, which is Dr. McDougall's Medicine, A Second Opinion. Yes, I know it's a few years old, but I hope to have Dr. McDougall as a guest, and he will tell you that some of the scientific and medical truths remain the same, whether they're 50 years old or 10 years old or 1 month old. Yes, there are new discoveries. Of course there are. But in this book, he will be talking, he talks, and he presents you with information that is still up to date today. And if you have any questions, and you will be able to ask him personally. So, and then there's going to be another book that I think you're going to love. Let's see. Okay, I'm just reading some of your comments. Thank you. One of you is sitting on the beach listening, and I am jealous of you, but not so jealous. Okay, you're on the beach. I am up in the beautiful mountains, and so it's okay. But I love the sea. Also, remember that on December 4th, the GI Summit starts. 40 or more of the world's most renowned doctors and dietitians and chefs will be talking about this topic that affects, I mean, almost everyone. Uh, GI, anything that has to do with gastrointestinal issues and how that affects all the areas in your body. So it's free. You can actually register for free. And yes, there is a paid version if you want it. It's not much, but if you get that, then you're going to get all the videos and written materials. But I'm posting here the link. Please don't take advantage of this. It's a real amazing summit put together by Chef AJ and other experts, and I think you will learn so much. Okay. So this Thursday, remember, if you cannot log in, don't worry. As usual, I put everything, all the replays on this channel. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel and that I email it to those of you who have subscribed to my list, of course. All right, so today we're going to finish chapter 11, which is, I don't know the word, but it just opens your eyes to learn about one of the diseases that kills millions, and that is cancer, together with, of course, heart issues. So heart problems. So let's go to the book. I am on page 130 in the electronic version of the book. And it says that cancer is evidence that something has gone very wrong. The fabulous machinery of cell reproduction, meant to last us 9 decades or more. So this mechanism of cell reproduction is meant to last until our 90s, or even more, until we're 100, or some people live longer than that. But something has gone wrong, really wrong. Bits of our cell reproduction machinery, sequences of a given cell's DNA, have become deranged and are dysfunctional. So what happens? Well, the cell reproduces too quickly. It's not that it doesn't reproduce and we run out of cells. It reproduces faster than it's supposed to. And not only faster, but with mistakes, imprecisely, no longer following the correct instructions to reproduce. In a matter of months or years, this imprecision becomes noticeable as a tumor or lesion. Remember that cancer, once it's discovered, it just didn't appear that day. In many cases, it's been years and years. The cancer has started way before our technology can detect it. So what Dr. McDougall says is that early detection really is not early. By the time that our technology discovers it, is well into late or almost late stages. So Dr. Lisle here and Dr. Goldhamer says very often this, of course, this tumor or lesion is fatal. Nearly 25% of Americans will die from cancer of the breast, lung, colon, or prostate. Precisely how this happened is still in part a mystery. Some cancers are treatable, And modern medicine does indeed perform miracles every day. So we cannot say that the medical advancements are useless. They many times they work. But for most cancer patients, modern medicine is still seeking answers to frustrating questions. For most cancers, we simply do not have effective treatment. For example, contrary to irresponsible propaganda, the success rate for breast cancer has not changed in 80 years, though the treatments have become increasingly unpleasant. Despite the escalating aggressiveness of surgery and chemotherapy, women do not live longer post-diagnosis than they did in the 1920s. And more than 90% of women diagnosed with breast cancer will die of this disease. So make sure you see the end note on page 214. So cancer, it appears, shares an important characteristic with cardiovascular disease. It has causes that can be largely controlled with diet and lifestyle choices. Both of these diseases that kill millions can actually be controlled with diet and lifestyle choices. These choices can determine our odds with respect to cancer, which puts this major threat largely within our personal control. On page 132, at the very top, it says, "For it appears that the primary culprit in the development of most cancer is observable and controllable. It is the consumption of animal protein." You need to underline, circle, color, whatever you want to do. This is crucial that we all understand and know. And it is that the consumption of animal protein is a major, major cause. One of the first to grasp this connection was Cornell University biochemist Colin Campbell. You all know who Colin Campbell is, and if not, shame on you. You need to know, because he is the author of one of the biggest and most influential nutritional studies ever made, the China study. So make sure that you Google him and you watch videos. He is now in his late years, but he's doing very well. And Dr. Campbell, as a young nutritional biochemist, was, like many of his colleagues, fascinated with protein. His doctoral dissertation, funded by the DuPont and Grace chemical companies, was an investigation into how to produce more and better high-quality protein. As his career blossomed, Campbell became one of the most respected nutritional biochemists in the world. A scientist with a diversity of research interests, Campbell was particularly interested in the connection between toxic chemicals and cancer. And of course, that makes sense. We hear a lot about this, but as fate would have it, he happened upon an obscure research paper published in India, reporting on a study in which rats exposed to a class IA carcinogen, aflatoxin, were fed either a 5% protein diet or a 20% protein diet. Remember those numbers, either a 5% protein diet or 4 times more, a 20% protein diet. Campbell found himself puzzled by the results. which were completely counterintuitive. Every rat, every single one of them that was fed the 20% protein diet developed liver cancer or its precursor lesions, whereas not a single animal fed the 5% protein diet developed liver cancer or a precursor lesion. Campbell was uncertain what to make of the study and consulted numerous colleagues. The feedback from his fellow experts was clear. The Indian scientists must have misreported their data and accidentally reversed their results. It was inconceivable, nearly sacrilegious to a community of nutritional biochemists to suggest a protein could be a culprit in cancer. In a series of astonishing experiments, Campbell and his colleagues not only confirmed the original results from India, but provided a critically important additional discovery. In one investigation after the next, Campbell and colleagues demonstrated that it is not protein per se that determines cancer development, but that it is animal protein that is primary culprit. Another thing to underline and just remember it for the rest of your life, okay? It's not any protein, it's animal protein. However, toxic exposure is often insufficient for the development of cancer, talking about toxins. In order to defeat the body's natural defenses against it, cancer must be promoted. Because, of course, you all know that our body is a marvelous machine that can heal itself. So most of us are carrying cancerous cells around, and the body is doing a great job fighting it. So cancer must be promoted in order to continue. Campbell's investigations have shown that animal proteins are by far the most effective promoters of cancer that have been identified. And to his surprise, Campbell has discovered that the primary protein of dairy products, so now do you see the progression? Is protein, is animal protein, but is dairy protein, and within dairy is casein, C-A-S-E-I-N. Casein appears to be the most aggressive promoter of all. Casein is a protein that appears in dairy products. That's why if there's anything that you need to give up, if you haven't already, first of all, of course, it's good to give up all animal products. But if you're going one step at a time, which may work for some people, but for others doesn't. But if you're going one step at a time, you want to give up dairy products for sure. Why isn't this information available to every single human being on the planet? It's a puzzle to me in some ways, although you all know about the power of industry. Let's see here. Have we studied in the book club the China study? No, but we will. So we will be reading the China study at some point during the book club. What is a good, polite way to tell your doctor that you don't have to have a mammogram every 2 years? One short comment. Well, what I would do is I would go to Dr. McDougall's website. In the search box, which is an amazing engine that they put on that website, you put mammograms there, and you will have a few of Dr. McDougall's newsletters that are really articles that are professional, like articles that have all of the studies and in there, and I would print that and I would take it to your doctor and tell him, please tell me why this is wrong. Just tell me why. And that's all you can do, because you cannot argue with the doctor. Remember that in our society now, doctors are second to God, and to some people, they really are gods. So don't try to argue with your doctor unless you have a doctor that is very open-minded and wants to continue learning and knows that once you have your degree, that doesn't mean that you don't continue learning. So if your doctor refuses to read the research and give you an answer, maybe, I don't know. That this is all personal. It is up to you. All right. So thank you, Gustavo. I will go to the McDougall site like that. Just tell me what is wrong. Yeah. Yes. And in the book that we will read on in January, that I sent you the link to download for free, you just have to type the code awareness, because it's $10. And unless you put it in the cart and when you check out, you put the code, it's not going to make it zero. So you need to do that. And that's the book we're going to study. And it has a discussion about cancer as well. All right. So what are the 3 steps to cancer? This is fascinating to me. You don't have to be a doctor to learn this. This is the stuff that doctors learn because they have 2 eyes and the brain, and they can learn it just like we can learn it. Of course, there are things, I'm not able to operate on an operating table or to prescribe medicine. I don't want to, but there is information that I can understand and process because I have an intelligent mind as good as any other doctor that studies. And this is one of them, learning the 3 steps to cancer. Of course, here we don't have a medical book. It's explained in everyday terms, but these are the 3 steps to cancer: initiation, promotion, and progression. Initiation is a process of DNA derangement. The DNA goes crazy, basically. That can take place within minutes of exposure to a toxin. By itself, initiation is not dangerous because we have anti-cancer machinery that effectively eliminates these cellular mishaps. So the body will take care of it. The most critical part of the process is promotion. That's where we need to focus, in which the fledgling cancer is fed and encouraged, a process that takes place across months and years. So the cancer gets initiated, and then over months, but many times over many years, this cancer is fed and encouraged. It is here that animal protein does its damage, leading to the final stage of cancer that we can observe with medical instruments and even the naked eye: progression. By this time, there is usually little to be done as the cancer is no longer controllable. Studies in Campbell's laboratory and elsewhere have demonstrated that without animal proteins in the diet, the initiation process of cancer development is often stalled. The evidence points us toward a startling possibility. It appears that regardless of the level of exposure to the initiating carcinogen, many cancers may be unable to develop and progress without the presence of animal protein in the diet. This finding, both counterintuitive and unpopular, is nevertheless a discovery of incalculable importance. Despite the widespread proliferation of toxic materials in our food and in our environment, we still may maintain a huge degree of personal control over cancer by simply controlling what we put in our mouths. So when someone says, "Oh, we now are breathing toxic air and toxic, we're drinking toxic water, we're eating toxic vegetables and legumes and everything, and why bother changing the diet?" No, that is not accurate. To a point, it is. Yes, we are being exposed to toxins every single minute of every single day. Our body does a very good job fighting that. What is causing cancer in most cases here, according to our authors, is, and according to Dr. Campbell and his team of other scientists, is animal protein, and especially protein that comes from dairy product. So, going back to the book here, despite the widespread proliferation of toxic materials in our food and in our environment, we still may maintain a huge degree of personal control over cancer by simply controlling what we put in our mouths. Is polluted air and water a risk factor for cancer? Yes, this appears to be the case. But this threat is minor when compared to the risks associated with poor dietary choices and cigarette smoking. Are the waxes in milk cartons a possible source of carcinogenic material? Yes, but they're not likely to be nearly as dangerous as the milk within the carton. So on page 135, it says, a title says, "Not in Our Genes." Despite widespread publicity about how genes cause cancer, careful scientific study provides a proper perspective. Epidemiological studies conducted by Casein Campbell and others have demonstrated that most cancers are attributable to dietary and lifestyle factors. Migration studies, in particular, are extremely convincing. For example, when Asian women migrate to the United States and adopt our dietary practices, they experience increased breast cancer rates of up to 500%, not 5% or 50%. These findings support the conclusion that diet is the primary causal factor responsible for the strong correlation observed worldwide between dietary habits and cancer incidence. It is fortunate that the very same dietary patterns that promote cardiovascular health serve to minimize cancer risk. So once we change our dietary pattern and adopt a diet that is free from animal products, not only do we decrease the possibility of cancer, but also of cardiovascular disease. A diet of whole natural foods not only promotes the reversal of cardiovascular disease, but also provides the body with a rich and continuous supply of phytochemicals, nutrient-like substances that combat cancer formation. These helpful chemicals are not found within any animal products, and they're not a significant component of processed foods. They're only available in the plant-based world. In addition, on a calorie per calorie basis, plant-based foods contain much lower concentrations of environmental toxins than do animal-based products. And this is because of a phenomenon known as biological concentration. And this everybody, this is very important. So what happens in biological concentration? Well, let's read it here. Wherein animals act as filters for environmental toxins and concentrate these toxins in their tissues. So the cows, the pigs, the chicken, they're eating the toxins from these products, and they're being concentrated in their flesh. As a result, their flesh and their milk are thus much more concentrated with such contaminants than the original vegetable matter source. For example, women who consume animal products have been found to have 70% higher concentrations of DDT in their breast milk as compared to vegetarian women. Our conclusion is this, Dr. Goldhamer and Dr. Lisle say. We appear to be best protected by minimizing or eliminating all animal products from our diet. And the more toxic our environment becomes, the more importance this prescription will have for all of us, both individually and collectively. I am going to read here some of your comments and see what you guys are saying. Is there any chance that the animal protein in dairy changes and is okay in cheese? I don't know. Well, cheese is the worst, as we have seen in the book, The Cheese Trap, by Dr. Neil Barnard. You may want to get the book and go listen to the book club. The highest concentration of all is in cheese. The highest concentration of these protein, casein, and others that we're talking about. So if there's one thing you want to give up, is that there are ways, everyone. There are ways to make whole food, plant-based cheese. There are many recipes. I think that I've shown you a couple of them before. I may make a video in the near future with that, but just going to the web and typing whole food plant-based cheese. I've made cheeses that even people who eat cheese did not realize that it wasn't cheese. So if you are a cheese lover, remember that this is an addiction. At some point, we all got addicted to it, and after your taste buds are reprogrammed, you start your addiction diminishes and diminishes and diminishes to the point where you're not interested anymore. Okay, let's see. Hi, Gustavo. Can you put the link again for the book? I missed. Thank you. I will put the link when when the replay goes out. I will put the link there, and I will also put it in the description area of this video once it's on YouTube. All right. Thank you, guys. Let's see here. All right. Let's keep going. We're at the end of chapter 11 on page 140, where it says summing up. And I love this because here we have a description of basically the whole chapter in a few words. And it says, starting 100,000 years ago, humans began to take the first few steps in a noble journey. They began the process of changing the environment to suit their needs, and they left their ecological niche behind. As a result, we have become the masters of the Earth's resources. The environmental damage done by our species has been staggering, and the consequences ominous. One fear has plagued scientists, physicians, and environmentalists. The question of whether our pollution of the environment is responsible for our current epidemic levels of disease, particularly cancer. While the answer to this question is not as yet definitive, some facts are now known. Fortunately, most cancer is unrelated to toxins within our air, water, and general landscape. Far more dangerous is the likelihood that animal protein acts as a catalyst in the promotion of cancer. So what can we do? What kind of action can we take? Well, here we go with Dr. Lisle and Dr. Goldhamer telling us exactly what to do. They say consume a diet of whole natural foods, excluding all meat, fish, fowl, eggs, and dairy products. In addition, utilize organically grown produce whenever possible. Finally, water for both cooking and drinking should be distilled to reduce unnecessary exposure to toxic substances in municipal water supplies. I know that it may take time and it's not as convenient as going to the store, but if you have a small yard or even some pots that you can plant, a few plants of lettuce or kale or spinach or peppers or tomatoes, these things will grow in pots. I am lucky to have a big yard and a big garden in the back, and I have planted a lot of things. And of course, I still go to the grocery store and try to buy organic, but that's not always possible. So remember to use, this is important here. It would help if you could use distilled water. Okay, so I want to say a few things before we close about chapter 12. And because this chapter is about sleep, and sleep is very important to our overall health, more important than we realize and more important than is being talked about. And one thing that may surprise you is the number of hours that we as human beings are meant to sleep. As you read this chapter, which we don't have time to go through all in detail, you will see how studies and research have been done. And the answer to this question of how many hours is the ideal number is 9 to 10 hours. And it is kind of shocking to most of us that the ideal number of hours for sleeping is 9 to 10 hours per night. But it is the ideal. Definitely 8. Once you go below 8, there may be some issues with health that may not be as evident as at least at the beginning, but throughout time they may be. It's just that we are born with a complex hormonal system, it says here in the book on page 145, and this hormonal system is designed to respond to the presence or absence of sunlight. In the dark, our bodies begin to produce melatonin, a key hormone in sleep onset neurochemistry. The presence of light halts melatonin production and results in the production of alerting neurochemistry. So, and here comes this terrible little device that you all know because you've done it and I've done it and I try not to do it. And that is when we're in bed at night, we're looking around and this thing lets out such powerful light, and it really messes up our brain function to tell us that it is night and that melatonin needs to be produced so that we can go to sleep. So a natural amount. We cannot be certain as to the precise length of the average night's sleep for our ancient ancestors, but there are several methods we can use to make an educated guess. Number one, we can observe what happens to people when they go camping without the benefit of artificial light. Number two, we can observe people in sleep laboratories where subjects have no idea whether it is day or night. And finally, number three, we can observe people in the non-industrialized world where Edison's gift has yet to fully arrive. These investigations all point to the same conclusion. We are designed by nature to sleep while it is dark, about 9 to 10 hours each night. Though designed by nature to sleep 9+ hours each night, the average adult in the United States now sleeps less than 7 hours and is sleep deprived for much of his or her life. The cost of sleep deprivation is enormous and largely unappreciated. Stanford University's William Dement, one of the world's leading authorities on sleep, has stated that our national sleep debt is a greater threat to our country than the national monetary debt. So I want to leave you with this idea. Please go ahead and read this chapter because it has so much useful information. But let's remember that we need to find ways to not have a sleep debt. Well, everyone, as we get close to our ending of this book club, it's always a little bit sad, but what makes me from being really sad is knowing that we will start a new one. In December, I will be producing some special videos. You will be able to have access to them if you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. And remember to click on that little bell, because when I upload a new video, you will get a notice. And if you're in my email list, you will get an email also when I do a new video. And I think you will be pleased with the video or videos that I will be sharing with you in December. You can already sign up for the next new club. I have sent the link a few times to my email list. I will also send it to the email that goes out with this replay, and I will also put it in the description area down here in this video when it is on YouTube. So thank you, everybody. I do appreciate your comments here. Unfortunately, the comments here in this live webinar are not able to be taken into the YouTube, but please, if you watch YouTube, leave comments there. And I will see you on Thursday, December 2nd at 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, or anywhere in the world where you are. And we will have a grand time with Dr. Alan Goldhamer as we finish officially this book club. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.